Thank you. I note good dynamics in all directions. The liberation of the territory of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, Zaporizhzhia, Kherson regions, is being carried out progressively, rhythmically, in accordance with your plans, with the plans of the General Staff. And the strategic initiative is entirely in the hands of the Russian armed forces. Now I want to address Sergei Viktorovich. Sergei, in our last meeting, you reported on the progress of tasks by the southern grouping of troops, including in the areas of the cities of Seversk and Kostiantynivka. How are things going there now? Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, greetings. The southern grouping of troops, in accordance with the plan of the special military operation, continues to perform tasks for the liberation of the northern part of the Donetsk People's Republic. In the Kramatorsk-Drushkivka direction, units and military parts of the grouping are advancing on a wide front, focusing their main efforts on liberating the settlement of Kostiantynivka. Despite enemy resistance, assault units of the 3rd Army Corps are advancing in the eastern and southeastern parts of the city. Street battles continue in the northeastern part and industrial area of the settlement. Simultaneously, the 4th Separate Motorized Brigade has completed the liberation of the settlement of Ivanopil and began assault actions in the southern quarters of the settlement of Kostiantynivka. On the left flank of the grouping, motorized units continue to expand the control zone of the territories of the Seversk area and the Bandir Lake Reservoir and are fighting to liberate the settlement of Stepanivka. Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, United Military Parts of the 3rd Army, advancing in the Seversk direction, completed the liberation of the city of Seversk, thereby creating conditions for further advancement towards the settlement of Sloviansk. The successful liberation of Seversk was facilitated by a detailed, planned, comprehensive fire defeat of the enemy, with significant contributions made by missile troops, artillery, aviation, and unmanned system units. Allow me to report more details on the liberation of the city of Seversk by the commander of the 3rd Army, Lieutenant General Kuzmenkov Igor Anatolyevich. Yes, now, one moment, please. Sergei Alexeyevich, I also wanted to say. We met on the 20th of November at one of the command points of the West grouping while working there, and you told me then that Seversk would be in our hands, and it would happen no later than December 15th. You know, I remember my trip to Dagestan. It was quite some time ago, after the completion of one of those noticeable at that period and important for us even today anti-terrorist operations. I went there to meet with the guys, including local volunteers. And this one woman who stood there too, a beautiful young Highlander woman, came up to me, took my hand and said it and did it. Man, I want to return these words to you and all your commanders, fighters now, said it and did it. Man, thank you for this work. But I want to note that this was made possible solely thanks to the coordinated work of commanders of associations, formations, staffs of all levels, who ensured the meticulous planning of this work, all combat actions, and also resolving issues of interaction and comprehensive support. It is impossible not to note the role of personnel, generally, junior commanders in the preparation and coordination of assault groups. Thank you all for your service, comrades. And please, let's continue. Igor Anatolyevich, you have the floor. Comrade Commander-in-Chief, greetings. During preparations for offensive actions, it was established that the enemy in the eastern part of the city of Seversk and approaches to it had created a deeply echeloned defense. Main efforts by Otto Zott in industrial zones and residential neighborhoods created a system of fortified areas, strongholds, and permanent points. A decision was made to reduce personnel losses by first blocking the city from 3 sides and cutting off logistical routes. For these purposes, the 6th Motorized Brigade from the north and the 123rd Motorized Brigade from the south conducted a flanking encirclement of the city in a favorable direction. Subsequently, with advance units of the brigades on the southern and northern outskirts of Seversk, a sequential assault on the city's neighborhoods was carried out. The greatest resistance was encountered in the high-rise quarter, Dolomite factory, bakery, and railway station, where the enemy prepared fortified defense nodes. During this period, the 7th and 88th separate motorized brigades, having made a deep maneuver from the north and south, cut off the main logistical routes west of Seversk. The enemy began a hasty retreat. As a result of the conducted operation, Seversk was taken under full control. Currently, verification activities are being conducted in the city to search and eliminate isolated Ukrainian servicemen attempting to hide in buildings. Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, United Military Parts, the Army continues offensive operations with the general direction towards the city of Sloviansk. End of report. Igor Anatolievich, thank you very much. We understand that by creating this fortified area in the Seversk region and in the city itself, the enemy hoped that we would get stuck in the storming of this city and thus be able to hold back our advance. The enemy failed, while you accomplished everything you planned and envisioned. Congratulations. Well, of course, I already said that commanders of mid and high level are participating directly in these actions. One of them is here, Denis Sergeyevich. I would ask you to also comment on the events that took place in which you directly participated. Please. Comrades, general commanders, the most difficult stage in taking control of the settlement of Seversk was overcoming the tactical defense frontier on the approaches to Seversk, where the enemy created a network of strongholds consisting of trenches, dugouts, and pillboxes. The dugouts reached up to 2 meters deep. After taking control of this frontier, the enemy actively controlled the eastern outskirts of the settlement. Parallel assault groups of the brigade actively set about clearing and storming the railroad, leading them into the north, the so-called southern gates. I note that there was a lack of coordination between the 10th Separate Mountain Assault Brigade and the 54th Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian forces within their subdivisions. Our units took advantage of this to begin organizing the establishment of assault groups. The enemy controlled our units from the eastern side. We made our approach from the south, discreetly staging assault groups. The beginning of the storming actions, and until the moment when the enemy realized we were in the settlement, we had enough forces to take control of the settlement. As the assault actions in the settlement began, they commenced sporadically. Starting from the southern outskirts, going 3 streets, 4 streets higher, in coordination with the 6th Brigade, everyday assaults on enemy fortifications began. The enemy offered resistance, but under pressure from our assault groups had to retreat to pre-prepared positions in the central part of the city. In coordination with the brigade and the 123rd Brigade, they did not allow the enemy to consolidate in the central part. The enemy was forced to retreat to the western side of the Bakhmutka River, where, in coordination with FPV drones, reconnaissance drones, and artillery, the enemy was destroyed. Dispersed groups remained on the western outskirts, which were destroyed jointly by the 6th and 123rd Brigades. Now the 123rd and 6th Brigades fully control the settlement of Seversk. 123rd and 6th Brigades continue to perform tasks in the western direction of the area of the settlement of Sloviansk. End of report. Well done. Congratulations to you.
На 3 улицы, на 4 улицы выше, во взаимодействии с 6-й бригадой, каждый день начинались штурмы, укрепления противника. Противник оказывал сопротивление, но под натиском наших штурмовых групп вынужден был отходить на заранее подготовленные позиции в центральной части города. Во взаимодействии с 6-й бригадой и 123-я бригада не дали закрепиться противнику в центральной части. Противник был вынужден отойти на западную сторону реки Бахмутка, где во взаимодействии FPV-дронами-разведчиками и артиллерией противник был уничтожен. На западных окраинах оставались разрозненные группы, которые были уничтожены совместно с 6-й и 123-й бригадой. Сейчас 123-я и 6-я бригада полностью контролируют населенный пункт Северск. 123-я и 6-я бригада продолжают выполнять задачи в западном направлении в районе населенного пункта Славянск. Доклад закончил.
Молодцы. Поздравляю вас.